Tyagi, and today I'm having a discussion on gender inequality in the workforce with Zharik. Zharik Apolinario is a 17-year-old change maker and business owner from the Philippines. He's the president of Teens Unite, a girl-up club focused on promoting gender equality. His passion to see change within the society is what fuels his desire to make a change and act on issues such as discrimination and gender inequality. Welcome, Zharik.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you and to be talking about the gender inequalities in the workforce, specifically the unequal pay, disparity in promotions, incidents of sexual harassment, sexism, and racism, and all. Yes.
So, as Zharik said, we'll be breaking our conversation into these 5 parts. And yeah, what do you think, on the aspect that we said about unequal pay, what would be your general belief on that?
Unequal pay. I seriously think that this happens because there's this society issue, or like society belief that women aren't capable of doing the things that men can do. That's why men have, higher pay. They receive more credits because, in society they are seen as strong, they are seen as powerful, they can lift heavy things, and in society, people believe that women can do that. Well, in fact, women can also do those things that, they believe that only men can do, like lifting things, doing, labor, what do you call that? Labor, work?
Yeah.
I believe that's the term. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the reason behind like this unequal pay.
Yeah, I will actually agree with you that because we see this discrimination against women, which is not something recent. Like we can very surely say that it's an ancient practice that, women are inferior. But there's also a counterfact to this that, before, if we talk about really ancient times, like the starting of everything, we can see that pagans used to actually kind of worship goddesses. So gods didn't even exist then. Women were the one who were worshipped. And there's a whole conspiracy theory that I've seen that, it was introduced by men so that they could, make women inferior. But yeah, talking about the modern times, it's a huge problem in every industry. We don't see it anywhere that, women are getting paid more. It's always men getting paid more, and this discrepancy that happens in the unequal pay. Yeah. So what do you think about this, in the sense of, even, when we are talking about unequal pay, we are seeing a change in the perspective of, women as well as men. Men are more aware of the fact that, yeah, women are getting unequally paid and women are asking for their rights now. So what do you think about that?
To be honest, I'm so I can't put into words what I feel about that thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very hard to put into words, like just to see that happening, or like just to witness those things. It's like very hard, to be honest, especially if you'll just hear it, if you'll just listen to it, you'll get very lost in a sense. It's like, why is that happening? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I feel like, most of us don't even have an idea or any clue about why is it even happening, right? Like, what's the problem? Yeah, I get it.
It's like, people, it's the 21st century. Wake up. So yeah, that's the only thing that comes into mind whenever I hear that thought. Like, it's the 21st century. Like, come on.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. We are in the modern times, and I feel like it's so important that people just start paying women equally. But yeah, moving on to the incidence of sexual harassment, what do you feel like is the link between sexual harassment and unequal pay? Like if you try to link it all.
sexual harassment and equal pay. Unequal pay, I mean. Ooh, it's like there's this thing that whenever women speak up about their experiences of sexual harassment in the in the workplace, instead of sometimes the corporate siding with them, it's the other way around. Like the corporate is siding with the perpetrator, and this causes like women, that like certain person, to lose her job or to be treated differently in the workplace after she speaks up, which means she will get less credit. She will have this decrease in salary, and I think I have seen that happen in real life. I'm not gonna say where, but yes, that did happen once, and it's very sad because sexual harassment isn't a joke. It because sometimes when men do certain things, sometimes unconsciously, like they would accidentally touch a woman in certain areas that they shouldn't. You know, Other people might see it as like a small thing. Like it is something that shouldn't be made that big of an issue. But the thing is, if you do that, it's like you are saying that, oh, it's okay to touch someone this way because it's an accident. No, you should never do that. You should always be careful with what you do in the workplace or wherever you are. You should be careful of what you're doing, who you are touching, and the way you're touching, because sometimes people might see it differently the way that you do. And when that happens, when that person speaks up, things would happen. Your job might get involved, the way you get treated in your job, the way you get treated within your community might change. And when this happens, money is always attached to these things. When you get treated differently, you will, find a hard time to get a job, to get the pay that you deserve, just because of this one, like sexual harassment. You know what I mean? So I think that is the main link of sexual harassment to unequal pay, is that like once we speak out, like it is normal. It is very important for us to speak out whenever like sexual harassment happens, because we would like give justice to those who were like, is victimized a word? I feel like I made that up.
Yeah, the victim. Yeah, the victim
Yeah,
was
the victim.
victimized.
Yeah, the victimized. I'm not sure if I made that word up. Okay, victimized. Yeah, it would bring them justice, and it would really teach that perpetrator that there are consequences of the things that we do, and like unequal pay. And also, I'm not sure which movie this is from. Like women, like for example, the boss is a male, and he would ask this like women employee to dress in a certain way to get a raise. You know what I mean? Or like,
Yeah.
This also happens in real life. Like this is not only in the movies. Like the bosses, like especially if it's like a male boss, would ask a female employee to dress a certain way, or do something with the boss just to get a raise, and that is not okay. Because what if you say no? What will he do? He will cut your pay.
Yeah, I
So
think
like,
raise and promotions both are linked to that, right? I have seen those cases happening for raises and promotions, and I feel that, when you were talking about sexual harassment, it's so important that you seek consent before touching anyone, right? It's not only for workforce. I'm saying that for general life, that maybe, you know it's very important that you seek consent from people before touching them, because you feel that something is okay, they might not feel that it's okay, right? I think that was the
yep,
point that you were trying to highlight through your dog, that and I feel that's so important that you actually ask for consent and don't touch them. Yeah.
yeah, and it's yeah, and as I've said, you should be careful of what you do, especially inside an office, especially in this generation, because this generation is very wild. I'll say that even though we are from this generation,
Yeah.
I'll say that the current generation is very wild. They are so out there.
Not
Uh,
afraid to speak their mind. Essentially, they're like, we don't like this, we don't like this, we like it,
yeah,
we like it. They know what they want.
yeah, and you would pretty much see in offices or in workplace in general that this type of like harassment or issues happen because again, this in this generation, we're like people are so out there, especially with the social media and stuff. The things that we see on social media sometimes would kick our like you know our brain or like our curiosity, like what would happen if we do this? Like, so okay, I'll try to do this. Get what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So so yeah, it's very frustrating to see those things like happen.
Yeah, and I
Not
feel like, the role of social media in this is mostly positive, because people are very aware, and they are, I would say, it is easy to mobilize people through social media for good causes, but bad ones as well. You know, Social media has such a huge effect on the lives of, our generation, mostly our generation and the previous one. I don't think that social media has much power other than these generations. The future ones, of course, but I just feel that social media is like so helpful for even us change makers to kind of talk about these things and impact people. Yeah.
Yep, that is true.
So let's talk more about the disparity in promotions, like you were talking about. Men. I mean, this aspect I recently kind of thought of is that there are some things that do happen to men as well. Like, sexual harassment does happen to men as well in the workforce. It's something that people don't talk about. I mean, I won't say that men are paid unequally or there's a disparity in promotion for men, or not even sexism, or I mean, racism and sexual harassment, I think, do exist for men as well. But other than those other points do not. But it's very important that we touch upon those facts as well, because essentially we are not really talking only about women. We said gender inequality, and gender inequality can actually be prevalent in other areas for men or for women. It just depends on those. So I feel like we should also talk about sexual harassment, happening with men, because most of the men do not talk about it. So what's your take on that, Zharik, being one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the sexual harassment. I had my fair experiences of being sexually harassed, and it wasn't something that you would expect because, in the media or in society in general, like there's this big idea that, only women, like, only women's experiences of sexual harassment is highlighted. But personally, like sexual harassment, it has changed wonders for me. It has changed my life very significantly, especially in school. I consider my school as like a workplace for me. For me, school is my area where I can put out all my work, all my ideas. So it is like an office for me. And to be honest, it is very hard because once people know that you were sexually harassed, sometimes their reactions would be different. Especially sometimes teachers as well. You would feel differently, and that is something that I feel like needs to change. Although I'm not saying that like this in general. When you tell people, or like when people find out that you got sexually harassed, of course they would care. They would show genuine love for you. They would show genuine support for you. But you cannot take away those people that would judge you for being sexually harassed. And sometimes, or not sometimes, when this happens in workplace for like older men than me, when they speak out about it, the first thing that you would see happen is like people judging them like, yeah, I can't really explain like how it happens, because I am not like working like with big offices. But what I would see is like, people would judge them for like being like weak. They would get treated differently, and sometimes this would lead to unemployment, and it would be very hard for them to go back out there to find a job that would treat them like normally, like equally.
With respect.
Yeah, with respect. That's the one that I'm looking for. My brain. I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. I do get your point. And yeah, it's there's also this whole thing about men being tough and not showing their emotions. There's so much of toxic masculinity that is related to this aspect of sexual harassment faced by men, right? And of course, as you all know, we are not really working in offices, so we can't really talk about our experiences there, but we can talk about our experiences in school essentially right now, because we are both in school, right? But yeah, I'm so sorry that it happened to you, Zharik. And it's more like, I get your point that when people know that you have been a victim to people or to life, they treat you differently, and sometimes you don't want to feel or be treated differently. You're just a normal human being. I mean, even with my life experiences, I feel that I am treated differently now, more than I was like before. But it's just that it's important to understand that each person has their own thing. Some people do prefer to be treated with care, but for me personally, I'm just like, please don't treat me differently. I am still the same person. Of course, our experiences change us, but it doesn't mean that we want to be made to be felt like victims, because we are.
And you know what? When these type of things happen to both men and women, they actually make us stronger.
Yeah.
Instead of like, because sometimes people would think that when this happens, oh no, we're weak. We are low.
Yeah.
But that's the other way around. When this happens to us, and I hope that this wouldn't happen to anyone else, because I believe that no one has to go through this type of like sexual harassment or like discrimination. But when this happens, it makes us stronger. It makes us wiser, and this knowledge would lead us to work better.
Yeah, exactly.
We could impart knowledge to our colleagues, our workmates, that when this happens, you should do this. You should like speak up, and you should be supporting the people that went through this as well instead of judging them.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, the knowledge or like the plan of the people who did this to us, like to make us weak, well, they failed. It made us stronger. It made us better.
Yeah, actually, if you've seen my bio, I have this line by Kelly Clarkson, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger," which is from her song, and I'm just like, I relate to you, and that's why it's in my bio, right? But yeah, that's so true. Your life experiences don't make you weak, they make you stronger, because you went down and yet you stood up again. So it takes a lot of power, and more power to you if you face something like that and you're still standing up and you're taking action. So yeah, what now? I think this aspect of sexism and racism is like present everywhere, right? It's such a broad topic, but yeah, Zharik, what's your view on the whole sexism and racism aspect?
Like, I actually can, you know, these two are attached to each other. They're like twins. They're not, yeah, twins. Because personally, as a Filipino, whenever you go to other countries, for example, where I came from, Qatar, often when you ask or when you see women, people would think that they are nannies. Like, they're just nannies. That's pretty sad, to be honest. Like, I don't know why people have this like big chunk of thought in their brain that Filipino women are just made to be nannies. We're just no, you know, Filipino women are more than that. Our vice president right now and presidential aspirant is a woman, and she did wonders for this country. She helped numerous amount of people, which is pretty inspiring for little kids. One of my favorites, Ayin Bernas, a beauty pageant contestant like last year for Miss Universe Philippines. She, you know, she inspires like little kids, like little girls around the world that we are more than what people say we are. You know, she continues teaching, she continues inspiring people around the world, and she continues showing that women are capable of more than just, you know, taking care of people, being note takers. And I believe that other women around the world as well. For example, in the sport entertainment, I can't speak. Sport entertainment industry. Let's say WWE, because Girl Up is linked to WWE, right?
Yeah, I know where this is going.
you know what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
You know, before, you know, women wrestlers were just seen as bathroom break matches. You know, their matches are just like 30 seconds, 3 minutes. I watch it. I know, I watch it. But there came a time where people saw more in them. You know, people believe that they are greater than just 3-minute matches or like 30-second matches. And that's where this revolution happened within the sport entertainment industry. Women showed that yes, we can do more. Yes, we are more than just, you know, bathroom break matches or like bathroom break shows. You know, we can do what these men can do. We can show that we are on the same level as them.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what this is all about. You know, we can't say that women or like men are greater than each other. we should just say that we are equal with each other. Because once we say that one of those two are greater, it's like, really? It's like you'll get that impression of like, really, are you greater? So there will be this toxic competition, this toxic environment for us. So, you know, women being equal to man is what, you know, these sports person do.
Yeah.
I actually saw like them. I watched on YouTube like about I think that was like 7 or 6 years ago when the revolution happened within WWE, and you know it's very inspiring. Especially I have a sister, so that I could show her that, hey, these women changed the game for everyone, for like all industries, not only sports, also in medical field or like other fields. You know, women showed that they can hang around with man. Like they are not underdogs, even though society or people tell them that you are still an underdog. You know, women showed time and time that no, we are equal with you. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
we are not saying that.
Yeah. I mean, um, it's that when you're talking about this WWE case, it's really like Sonia. Did you see her during the Gala summit that we had, the global summit? She was there, Sonia Devis.
Yeah.
I mean, I seriously love her. Like what she does. Recently there was a girl up takeover of the sports championship, and sorry, and she was there along with all those young girls, and she is so friendly and genuinely encouraging. When we had that global summit, I did post this story, and she actually reposted it, and she was she messaged me, and I was like, she is so sweet. And I feel like women around the world who are making change, because they've gone through experiences which were not really friendly, they are in fact very friendly, and they are very motivating. Also, they encourage other girls to like kind of go for it. And yeah, so I agree that in every aspect, women are so much more better. If we say that, they're so much more better, right? Like they're not given as much credit as they actually deserve, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what makes me sad is like this saying, or like I don't know where I heard this, but I think I saw this from Carmella in WWE, where she was told that she had to work, I think twice or 10 times harder just because she's a woman, or like just because she's a pretty face. And you know what? Women don't have to do that. They don't have to work twice or like 10 times harder just to prove that they're like, equal with men, or like they're greater than men. It's like whatever they do, that is enough. They don't have to prove themselves that, hey, we're great. We're like, yeah, we're great. No, I believe that women don't have to go through that. I can't. Whoa, my words. It's a tongue twister. They don't have to go through that. There we go.
Yeah.
And as well as the people in the LGBTQ community, because I am from there.
Yeah.
It's like this big idea that we have to prove ourselves time and time and again, even though our work speaks for itself. Like people still won't believe that. Like people would still think low of us, and it's very sad that we have to work 10 times harder than we already are, just to prove ourselves to be worthy of the respect, the recognition, and that we deserve. Yeah.
Yeah, that is such a huge problem that I feel like is still there. You know, sorry, I'm having a cough. You know, I feel like it's still there, and if we compare women and LGBTQ, I feel like if it is decreasing for women, it's increasing for the LGBTQ community, because people are still so not accepting of people who belong to that community. And you know, there was so many new things coming up even in the United States, where they are passing laws against LGBTQ marriages or couples. And it's just that I feel that even now, even in the most developed of countries, there are these problems which are there. And when you see it here in developing countries like yours and mine, we feel like, how is there any hope for us if there's no hope for them, right? Do you feel that, Zharik? Like, do you maybe sometimes compare this whole situation? Do you like, how do you feel if you had to talk about it in adjectives? What would be your 3 words to describe this feeling that you have?
Adjectives. Sadness. It's definitely one of them. Like
Okay.
sadness, pressure, and disappointment. So like I have told this to my friends. I'm not sure if they remember it. But yeah, I always tell them like I'm like this is so sad, this is so disappointing, and it puts a lot of pressure in me as a part of that community. Yeah, those are 3 adjectives. Top adjectives. I have a lot more, but we would take about 12 hours if I say them all.
Yeah, I get your point, but yeah, I feel like our generation is still so much of I feel there's so much of appreciation or acceptance. Yeah, so much of acceptance for people of the LGBTQ community. But if we talk about the previous generations, that is not really visible. I don't see a lot of people around me or any other person who I hear from it. I don't see it, but I feel like our generation and the future generations can still go forward and not have this hate against the whole LGBTQ community, racism. I feel like our generation is doing so much better than other generations.
And that is because we already spoke out about it, you know? Because before, when you speak out about it, the worst that could happen is you'll get stoned to death.
Yeah, true.
But now, and before, the avenues where we can speak out are limited, unlike now that we have our phones, we have social media, where we could speak out, where we could learn. And, you know, our generation, we are eager to learn about these things, you know? We want to change our mindset. We want to learn for the better. We want to, you know, associate with people that faces oppression just to get not just to get, but like to learn from them, to get their side, to understand them. That is what this generation is. We are working to be better. We are using our resources to be better, and we can speak out much easier now because of the advancement of technology, the advancement of the society. And we have a lot of like famous people or like personalities that are of the LGBTQ community. We have a lot of celebrities who are person of color. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they are imparting their experiences, their knowledge to the world so that people could understand what it's like or what it is that happens within that community. Personally, I have a friend. I am not sure if you've heard of Raymond Delgado?
No, I don't think
He's,
so.
well, I'll share that with you later. He's an absolute babe. He speaks out whenever he sees that there is an oppression happening. And to be honest, with his following, he's actually, teaching or like educating people that, hey, this is happening. Speak now, make a change. And other than that, we have Little Mix.
Uh-huh.
Yes. I'm not sure if you've seen Leanne Pinnock's documentary, Raise Pop Power. That did wonders for people of color, like person of color, and their songs encapsulate like their like thoughts or like the things that they want to say to educate people about the issues that are happening with the LGBT community. We have the Secret Love song. With like women empowerment, we have their whole discography. We have Power Gloves Up. I could list them all. For the women, like for the like people of color, we have songs about that as well. We have Strip. I'm not sure if you've heard of that song, but they use their following to educate people, and that's what is great about this generation. We use our influence, our like power to educate people about this type of issues, and that is what makes this issues what do you call this, like lesson, not lesson, but we are more mindful about these issues. We are more mindful about the way we treat people, and that is because we are being educated.
True. Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like people are so much more open to present their stories, to talk about their lives, be recognized for who they are. And also I feel like people are now moving forward from the generational trauma that is there, from previous generations of discrimination and prejudices. I feel like people are actually moving forward, and they are actually breaking those mental barriers that are there against women, in sexism, the whole thing. Also, people of color, I feel like people are so much more open to, hang out with other people, because how it was like in the old times, where people were not allowed to mingle with other groups or other communities. A lot of casteism and racism was there. Even if we talk about Africa, where we know there's a huge problem over there, where they divided places for whites and blacks. But I feel like now there's a lot of inclusivity, and I really like that. I genuinely feel very happy when I see an inclusive environment, be it at Girl Up, be it at Learning Planet, or any other place that I work. If I see there's a gender and race inclusivity, I feel like that's so good, right? Yeah.
And also, like, if you would look at the offices before, let's say, like about in the 90s, for example, like you would see people treat people of color, regardless of their sex, differently. They would get treated differently just because of the color of their skin. And now it is so empowering to see, people of color who are CEOs, who are actually leading a certain, for example, a country, a government, like a country, a corporate, and they're making that area successful. And it is inspiring, especially for kids, to see that, oh, hey, like we can do that as well, regardless of what our skin color is, because before you wouldn't see that, or if you see it, it would be like 1 in a million chance for them to experience that type of treatment. But now, wherever you look, you know, there are like a lot of black-owned businesses and that we should support. I feel like we should put like a link, like list of links down there where we can support them. And it is actually very inspiring to see that, you know, they broke this big barrier within society. Although for me, I don't see that barrier, like, but for like, I couldn't speak for them
Yeah.
because, what happened last 2020, you know, the whole issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually sad to see that happening in this generation because we should, we should know better because like we have a lot of resources to read. We have a lot of resources we could use to educate ourselves, and yet we failed to do so during that time. But now, I think it is important for us to learn, learn, educate ourselves about this issue, about, how we can support each other equally. And, if we see a certain instance that someone is getting discriminated just because of the color of their skin,
Yeah.
we should speak out. We should help them, and not just watch them suffer. It is very important for us to work together to change the mindset of society.
Yeah, exactly. And very well said, Zharik. We can do better. We are doing better. There's always scope for more improvement. And following this, we will be putting in some links in the chat to report sexual harassment at office. Every company has their own mechanism, and so you can use that mechanism. But if you are looking for resources, please do go ahead and check on the internet for resources in your country, because it's not really possible for me and Zharik to link down all those links in the description for every country, right? But essentially, we will try to put down some links in the description which are universally applicable or usable, and we might even feature them in the video right now. So while I'll be editing, I'll just put down those links. Yes, so we will put down some resources in the end of this video, maybe, or in the description. I think I'll do that in both the description and the video. Yeah.
And also, we should find ways where we can help each other more, especially like women who are getting harassed or who are experiencing oppression. We should use our social media accounts, or we should use our following to actually speak out, educate people, in terms of toxic masculinity. We should also speak out about that because, again, we are talking about the equality, especially in workforce, because in workforce, if you cry, especially if you're a man and you cry, people would laugh at you. They would say, "Hey, man up, dude, man up." All of us are allowed to cry. Excuse you, sir. We are all allowed to cry, regardless of if we are a man, a woman. We should be allowed to express our emotions because that is what makes us human. And if we suppress that, if we keep that inside, it would lead to bigger problems. Okay, I would say it again because that was a tongue twister for me. That would lead to bigger problems. It might lead to suicide. It might lead to other things that is very unfortunate. So we should be allowed to freely express ourselves and not get judged by it. Yeah.
True. So if you're facing any of these problems, our message to you would be please speak up. And if it's happening to a group of people, or if it's happening to one particular community or one particular gender, or if it's happening based on their sexual orientation, I feel like all of you should come together to support each other and speak up. You can always do that on social media. Social media is so effective in getting your voice heard. Share it. You can share it with your friends. Seek help. If you require mental health facilities, you can reach out to a psychiatrist or a psychologist. You can, of course, visit doctor if you face sexual harassment, and you can always take action legally as well as socially. So on this note, Zharik and I will be wrapping up the session. Zharik, thank you so much for joining. This is the first time that I've seen you so serious. Like, I've never seen you so serious. When we are working at the Girl Apart Such Cute Club, I always see you as a fun person, but it's so good to see you and see this side of you, essentially. Yeah. So anything you would like to add, Zharik?
Oh, thank you so much for having me here. And when it comes to social problems, when it comes to issues like this, like, I am serious because I have a sister, I like friends who are, who might be able to experience these issues. So for me, it is very important to, speak out, be serious about it, but, not too serious that I won't smile. Hey,
yeah,
we have a short life.
Yeah.
And let's have fun.
Yeah, let's stay happy, be happy, share happiness.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole goal, right?
Yes.
We do talk over here. If you want to reach out to us, I'll be sharing our details in the video right now, or you can also see them in the description, right?
Yes.
And so, yeah, thank you everyone for joining in. This is Zharik, and we are talking about gender inequality. See you in the next video, Zharik.
I'll see you.
We want you back. If you want Zharik to come back, comment down below. We want Zharik back. And I feel like this was such a serious video, and you didn't even laugh that much, or you didn't make jokes, and I was all the time I was just listening to you, and I was like, whoa, Zharik is so serious today.
If you guys want to see the other side of me, just comment down below, like, funny Zharik side. We can make a video of that one.
Yeah, we can definitely make a video of that one. So if you want to see Zharik again at the channel, comment down below. We want Zharik back, and this time we'll try to make a video which is on a lighter note, or maybe we can have a recording of the club meeting that we have, where Zharik is the neighborhood cutie.
Oh no. No. I still remember that first meeting though.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
So yeah, that was us. Thanks for joining in, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.